Hey everybody, how's it going? Today's topic, carburetors. This is the number one issue that I get emailed about to do with carburetors. I get an email about this, it seems like every week one of you guys reaches out and says, hey, I put a carb kit in my carb and my saw won't start now. Or more commonly, my saw is spitting fuel out of the muffler, and when I turn the low jet, it won't lean out and it won't rev up, and it's literally leaking fuel out of every orifice that it can. Today's video, let's deal with that. I'm going to show you the reason. It's a simple problem, but it's hard to diagnose if you've never done it before or you're not sure. Let's dig into a Tillotson HS. This is the most common carburetor that this happens on, but this happens to all carburetors. We're going to take a carb off a saw that needs a carb kit. We'll put the carb kit in, but I'm going to show you why this happens to the Tillotson and how to avoid it. Okay, on the bench today we have a random Husqvarna 266. Well, it's a Huska Johnson something. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is just a saw I pulled off the shelf. It needs some love. I've been looking at my part stashes and deciding I want to build another 266 or 268 for me, and so I've just been going through my junk. Anyhow, okay, pull off the throttle linkage. 2 screws hold the carbs on this. Make sure you have a ball end if you're working on one of these, because you won't put this back together or usually take it apart without a ball end hex key. Okay, we're going to take this off. I picked this saw because, as you guys can see, these are literally the easiest saws ever built to work on. They're up there. Okay, choke. Oh, this thing's probably going to need a fuel line. Okay, well, it's leaking now, so crack the cap. That's a move, eh? Just crack the cap if you're spewing fuel everywhere. I was hoping to pick a saw that didn't need a fuel line, but... Okay. Let's pull this off. Oh, this thing smells like bad gas, so that's probably going to be the reason why it doesn't start. This saw used to run. I've had it running years ago, and I guess I didn't drain it. Now, it's rare with the fuel additive I use to actually ever have a saw that won't start, because it seems to stabilize it. But anyhow, I'm going to dump the fuel out of this thing. I'm going to replace the fuel line. That's not what this video is about. This fuel line is like gum, okay? That's what happens to them after a while. And just because I'm all about sharing knowledge with you guys, I don't know everything, I just know what I know. And a lot of people have taught me a lot of the stuff that you see on here. I learned from somebody else. Some of it I learned on my own, but okay. Now, one way that we can actually pull this through here. Oh, I almost had it. Okay, I just got to bend it right. Because you're going to find, unless you have a big long pair of hemostats, which I do, but not everybody has those at home. Okay, take a piece of mechanics wire. There you go. Okay, and push it through. Now, take your new fuel line right here. This will usually work. Just wrap it around there. You just want it wrapped around there enough that you can feed it through the hole. Okay? Like that. Okay? Then, they make a tool for this, but again, if you don't live, or if you don't live in a area that has a lot of logging, or you're not, you don't work at a dealer, or there aren't a lot of dealers around you, you might not have access to this, and that's fine. Okay, now pull this through. There, it came off, but it pulled itself through there enough that I can grab it. Okay, and there's our new fuel line. I had to get the camera out of the way, and once I did, it went boop, and away she went. Okay, let's dig into the carburetor. Here's our carburetor. It's let's see if we can get it to focus. It's a Tilson HS 256. This is a nice carb. And notice it is a John's thread carb, so when you pull the choke, okay, that holds the throttle open a little bit, and you have fast idle. Okay, and then of course, when you do this, it lets go. Okay, here's our gasket. Gasket's in good shape. That can also be an issue, but we're not talking about that in today's video. Today's video is more or less very specific. Let's pull this off. I guess it helps if I grab the right screwdriver. Okay. I think I've been into this carburetor before. I suspect I have. I've had this saw for quite a few years. I've never really run it though. Letting a two-stroke sit is like death for it, especially for the carburetors. Okay, take that top one off. And we have rancid fuel. Okay, we're just going to do this quick and dirty. I've definitely been into this carb before. Okay, dump this out in an environmentally friendly way. Okay, she's spick and span there. Now, often they recommend that you do both sides at once, meaning undo both sides. I'm not going to do that because I've done enough of these to kind of know where I'll have problems and where I won't. But if you like doing them one side and then the other, do it that way, please. Okay, make sure these are covered. Those little flaps go up and down, okay? If those don't move, you don't have a fuel pump, realistically, okay? And my hands are dirty. Again, disregard, this isn't a how to build a carburetor video. This is what to do if your saw doesn't run after you build a carburetor. And because this carburetor needs a rebuild, we're just going to rebuild it on video. Okay, diaphragm, gasket cover on this side. Other side is gasket diaphragm cover. That is almost, and when I say almost, there's always oddities, but that is, somebody will go in the comments and go, what about the blah, blah, blah carb? Yep, but that is almost all carburetors, okay? This side is diaphragm, then gasket. Other side is gasket, then diaphragm, okay? There's a pump side and a metering side. This is your pump side. And you don't got to do these up too tight. Let's pull the end of that fuel line off that we broke. Okay, this side. This is your metering side. Okay, 4 screws. And again, this is almost all carbs. Some of your steels and that, your smaller carbs may have 1 screw in the middle on the other side. Just depending on the model. Some Walbros and Zamas have that. I've had bad luck with Zama carbs over the years, so I tend to stay away from them. Meaning, if I'm going to build a saw, I usually will take a Zama off and put a Walbro on, but that's just me. Or a Tilly. Here we go. Maybe, no, I haven't been in this carb. I've never actually run this saw on the wood fronts, I don't think. Okay, now, this is where you're going to get into trouble, okay? This little center here is hooked on to the metering lever, okay? Can you guys see in there? Okay, I'm going to unhook it. It is, see that little, right here? That is hooked on to right here, okay? When you put it on, you go down and hook it in. Now, what happens is, when you're taking it off, guys, do this. Did you see what I did there? I pulled up and it came out. And then you look at it and you go, okay, that's where it's set from the factory, so that's where we're going to put it. So tell you what I'm going to do here, friends. I'm going to leave it like that. I think this needle and seat should be fine. Yeah, let's leave it for now. Actually, no, because you know what will happen, friends? We won't be able, something will be wrong with this saw and I won't even be able to start it, and it looks good. Also, if you're changing parts, a lot of these kits are aftermarket. Make sure they're the same length, same size, same shape. Some of these kits don't have the right size parts. Make sure this tab is the same. Some of them are deeper on the aftermarket kits. I'm talking about this. If it's higher, you're going to have to set your metering lever higher. If it's lower, you're going to have to set your metering lever lower. Okay? Because if that tab is this long, that's going to push your metering lever down, this piece. It's going to push it down. And look, when it goes down, this goes up. And if that's up, it's letting fuel into the carb. That's where you get your problem. Okay? And that realistically is the issue, friends. Okay? Now, I'm going to break this saw on purpose for you guys, and then we're going to fire it up, and we're going to see what does it run like with a metering lever. Now, if you look, this metering lever is lower now with this new needle. And the reason, okay, make sure it moves. It moves. The reason is this needle is a slightly different height. Okay, this should be right about there. Okay, level with this chamber here, not level with the bottom. Most guys will do it this way, and I'm going to do that. Hopefully this thing runs. It may not run though. Okay, I'm going to bend it. Oh, that's way too high. Okay, let's bend it back down here. Okay, I have it roughly level with the bottom. Now, a lot of carbs, that's how they run. They are level with the bottom, but not the Tillotson. The Tillotson's a different animal. These are great carbs. They run good on stock saws. Okay, and again, I'm going to hook that. Now you can see it. I'm going to hook that in. These run great on stock saws, modified saws. These are so common. These were run for, oh geez, 30 years probably. Okay, Homelight Steel, Husqvarna, Johnson, Poulin. All the big names are on these saws. McCullough, I'm pretty sure McCullough did too. So if you're working on an older saw, when I say older, I mean 25 years or older, which most of my stuff is. That's kind of the era. I like the 90s. That's like where I think everything was the best, into the early 2000s. I believe that is the same with diesel trucks, chainsaws. Of course, it's getting harder and harder to find this stuff. They only made so much of it. So if you got to run newer stuff, I get it. Like, I believe me, I'm not one of those snobs that's like, well, I have a YouTube channel and, you know, I know everything. Nope, I do not. I've been blessed to be able to find this stuff, and you guys send this stuff to me all the time, steady. Okay, so we have a metering lever that's too high. I'm going to set you guys back up. Let's get this saw back together. Oh, and before you guys notice that I put the carb on a different saw, this is a 162 SE. It doesn't matter. They're the same saw, same carburetor setup. I had this saw running. The cylinder is not actually bolted onto it. Weird. I guess I took it off years ago. Anyhow, won't run like that. So I put it on this saw. This saw is a runner. Again, it's another junk saw. It doesn't matter. So again, I have the jet set where we had it. And I can't even get this thing to run. So I have leaned the jets out substantially even to get this thing to start. I guarantee when you guys see this, you're going to be like, wow, this thing will smoke and not rev up. Anyhow, check it out. Metering lever. If it's too high, these are your symptoms. Some saws will spit fuel out of here like profusely, like that. Some saws just won't start. Some saws will not rev up or will not idle without holding throttle on it. Check this out. I'll fire it up for you guys. Okay, friends, did you see that? This saw won't throttle up cleanly. It is absolutely, look at the muffler. It's spitting fuel out of the muffler in between where the muffler attaches. The air horn is clogged with fuel. Did you guys see that? I was turning the screwdriver in on the low jet, trying to lean this thing out to get it to idle. It will not idle. Okay, let's see if I can restart this. No promises. It'll be hard to start. I'm just going to do it off camera. Again, I can't keep it idling. I got it to restart by giving it a whole lot of throttle. Okay, listen, if I pull on this thing, it won't start. I have to give it tons of air because it's way too rich. Okay, and the more I run it, the richer it's getting. My jets are, my low jet's half a turn, and my high jet is half a turn, friends, okay? Remember where we started? We were at 1 1/4, 1 1/8. That's where this saw should be. If the metering lever is adjusted properly, meaning flush with the bottom of, or the top of that chamber, okay, bottom of the metering lever flush with the top of that chamber on an HS carb, 1 to 1 1/4 turns is your sweet spot. If you're running it more open than that, okay, and you're having trouble keeping your saw running, 2 problems you could have. Number one, your metering lever is too low. Usually not the case, but it could be too low. Number 2, you need to adjust your jets, okay? Number 3, if everything's set up right and your saw won't run unless you prime it and it seems lean, it won't fire up. A rich saw will almost always fire. It's keeping it running. It'll fire and get going. Keeping it running with throttle is the tough part, okay? But if your saw won't start, and maybe it just pops and you can't get it going, and you've taken your low jet and you've gone like this, you know, 1/8 of a turn increments, keep opening it until the saw starts. If the saw won't start, it is lean. You may have a crankcase seal leak on either side, either this side or the other side. There's seals. The base gasket around here could be leaking. If you have an intake boot, it could be ripped. If you have an intake block like this saw, there's 2 gaskets here that could leak. Any number of things. You could need a fuel line. But realistically, friends, if everything else is good and you've just rebuilt your carburetor and it's running like this, let's hear it again. Okay, notice how smoky this thing is and how boggy it is. Okay, even at the settings, I'm going to put it back to where it was because my jets are not open anymore. Okay, half a turn. Even at these settings, look how smoky and boggy it is. It's because the metering lever's too high. Check this out. Okay, friends, that was full throttle. Let's hear it again. This thing will not throttle cleanly, and it will not idle, and that is 100% metering lever. Start it one more time, then I'll let you guys go. Oh. Okay, so there you go. I hope that helped you guys out. Don't be red-faced if you've done it. I've done it. A lot of guys I know have done it. Okay. Number 1, when you're pulling this off, make sure you slide it back and unhook it. If you've never done one of these, it's really easy to not know that that's there because you can't see it. And again, they go like this. Okay. They go like that. Okay. The other thing I've seen, and this will cause the same symptoms, not hooking it in. And if you don't hook it in, this is too long and it pushes it open. Okay, this is closed, this is open. Okay, so make sure that's hooked in there and make sure you don't do this. And when you pull it out, if you pull on it it's going to go like this, and it's going to bend it up. Okay, I hope that helped you guys out. Again, I get emails about this many times a month. I've done it. I've seen other people do it. I had one fellow that was at Buckenstock, said he ported a saw, and I was thinking porting or a metering lever. That was my two things. Well, once he gave me his timing numbers, I knew it wasn't intake timing. It was metering lever. Well, sure enough, last week he emailed me, and it was the metering lever. He put it the right height, and he said the saw fired right up. He told me that saw had been sitting on the bench for a year or something, or on the shelf for a year because he couldn't figure it out. So that's why I answer emails. My email's on my About page. I'm in there several times a week. If you don't hear back from me, it's just the law of numbers. You can always try again, but I answer as many as I can every week. But of course, I can't get to all of them. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take it easy. See you in a couple days. Later.